Hello, I'm waiting for Victoria from Russia. Hey, Briganti. Hey, Victoria. Come in with your image, please.
Hi,
Hello.
Rubens.
Hi, Victoria. What a pleasure with you here with such a distance, and at the same time, uh, we are trying to share something very similar, probably that is going on in your country and my country.
Yes.
Yes. So for those who doesn't know, Victoria is a psychologist uh, from Moscow, and she's the director of a psychotherapy school with many students for many years, with a lot of experience in in Moscow and some other places too. So Victoria, the idea to start our conversation here is. Uh, shall we share a little bit what what's your experience now in Russia, in Moscow, about the new crisis that we are all living with the COVID-19 virus, and how is this affecting your life, your friend's life, and how is this affecting your work in the clinic too, with your patients, you know? So if we can start sharing about that, it might be very interesting. Hello, Marcelo. Hello, Regina. Yes, if people are coming in, and I'm just saluting.
Okay. So I will tell you something, and then I would like to hear something back. What happens in Brazil, in São Paulo? Okay?
Yes, of course. So the virus, the COVID-19 came a bit later than Europe. I think in Russia also it came a bit later than in Europe, you know. Maybe in Russia and Brazil it started probably at the same time, you know, the growing of the virus. Here in Brazil, it's a country with lots of difficulties, lots of problems in social problems, you know. So we have a lot of difference between lower class and higher class people. So somehow higher class people can protect themselves a little bit better, and lower class people have lots and lots of difficulties, and they are the mainly population. You see, and then we have also a government that is very dubious. You know, we have a president that neglects everything that is going on, and we have a minister of health until yesterday that was trying to bring people into confinement, trying to help people to get conscious of the problems and create distance in between them, you know, and all these things that you can do without becoming so paranoid. You know, you just have to keep distance and protect yourself and your families, etc. Some people can do that. Poor people are much more difficult to do that, and the government does not help at all these people. You know? So we don't know what's going to happen in the next month, in the next 15 days, in the next month. I think we are going to stay that, and people receive double messages, which creates a problem, you see. So people believe or not believe. It's not a question of believing, it's a question of science. So this is a big question around here, you know. The clinic, we keep working online now, you know, mainly online. It's very hard to see somebody um, uh, one in front of the other, you know. So we keep working online. We are learning how to work online, and we are learning mainly that it's possible to work online even when you do body work, and that's very, very interesting. You can have resonance, you can have empathy, even without the presence of the other. So this is a bit of what's going. There are a lot more to talk about, but that's a bit what's going on here.
Yes, I think that we have, as you told, we also have big gap, big difference between people of high class and people who are not in this high class. In the morning, now we have evening in Russia, but in the morning we had this information that now we have 37,000 in the whole Russian Federation, 37,000 of people with coronavirus. But I think we have more. 37,000 were diagnosed, put a diagnosis this. Yes, and 50% of these people are living in Moscow. So the most number of people with coronavirus are living in Moscow. So what we have now, supermarkets and pharmacies and hospital, of course, and some banks are open. The rest is closed. So delivery system is working okay. I think so. You can order some food, some pharmacies, something else. And the delivery system is working okay. Several days ago, we were introduced digital pass. So in order to go somewhere, to visit, for example, polyclinic or your relative, you have to show this digital password. You can be checked. So we can work only online. We are not allowed, I mean, psychologists, we are not allowed to sit with our clients. It's like this. And I think that the main problem now is uncertainty.
Yes.
We know nothing.
Nothing, yes.
Yes. And because of this uncertainty and also separation distress, many people feel not very good when they are sitting in isolation. So we concern about, of course, about our nearest and dearest. We concern about our clients. We concern about children. And for them, it's not a piece of cake to sit in isolation, because children would like to have a lot of friends around, etc. Also, of course, we concern about old people and people who are in a group of risk. And of course, we concern about our future, because including money, because a lot of people have lost their money.
Yes.
So, and you know, yesterday we had a Zoom conference with one of our student group, because we, of course, we cancel all seminars. And we had a Zoom conference, and we talked with people about their feelings, about their problems. By the way, about some new possibilities, because not so many body psychotherapists before have their clients online doing body psychotherapy. And we also told about some resources, because in order to continue our life, we have to have some resources, because, you know, we're living in new reality, and our life is not stopped, but is transformed.
Yes.
very, very much. So, and you know, yesterday one woman, one of my colleague told that now it's look like you were driving along a highway, and then suddenly you encounter thick mist.
Yes.
You cannot see anything, only half meter before, but you cannot stop. And you have to learn how to drive in a thick mist. And also a part of this uncertainty, we have such experience that we don't trust too much to our mass media.
Yes.
Very different information. Some mass media are trying to threaten us. Some are trying to tell us that don't believe in these numbers and these dangers. So it's like, so, and we are trying to support each other. What we can do else?
Yes. I think in Brazil it's very similar what's going on. This metaphor of the mist is very nice, and because
I saw you like it. I saw you like it. Yeah.
because this is, we have a reality which is science is talking about. We have this reality, you know, and as psychotherapists, we are used to work with the unknown. We are used to work with the mist, in the mist, going into the unknown. No, but this is more symbolic. It's more working with the person in themselves. No, but now we have a mix between a reality, no, of the unknown, and we have another kind of reality of the unknown in the person, right? In the soul, in the body, in the organism, you know, and the reality of the sickness, of the threat of the sickness, yeah, it creates lots of um, uh, new experiences inside of each person at home, alone, or maybe with somebody in the family, or some people have many people in the same room living together, and that creates an environment that generates anxiety, anguish, fear, and we are trying to deal and learning how to deal with that in our work online, and how help people also to find a way to coexist together in the same place too. Yes.
Yeah.
So somehow we are obliged to face our own selves in front of the mirror, no, and our own mirror, and at the same time, how can we deal with the others around us, no? So yes, go ahead.
If to talk about clients and
Yes.
also students, so some people, yeah, some people have anxiety, some people have a fear, some people have a very strong anger.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's very important to help people to canalize this anger. Otherwise, yes, it will be like it turned to be a panic. But you know, some people are keeping calmness. Maybe it's a surprise, but some people are calm. So of course they are very cautious. They try to do their best, but they are trying to canalize their anxiety and also to find the resources. And we talk about resources with our colleagues and with our clients. So, and these resources are work with client. It's
Yes.
a great resource, because when we share with clients something and when we are helping them, it's like exchange. So because when we feel that we are needed, it's a resource, even we are sitting in isolation. The other kind of resource is movement. We are body psychotherapists, and even we don't have such a big space now to move. We still are trying to move. It's also a way to canalize our energy. Yeah.
Yes.
Some people have this very great resource, which is contact with nature. You know, all parks in Moscow are closed, but some people manage to escape from Moscow to their summer houses, to their dachas. And it's very great resource, because you can see it's spring now in Russia.
Yes.
You can see that the nature is waking away from deep sleep. So it's also a big resource. For some people, it's a big resource to have more time to be in contact with their families, if we are living with somebody else, because usually we work a lot and we don't have too much time with our nearest and dearest. It's a great resource now. And also it's a resource to be in contact with ourselves. You know, now there are a lot of proposals to do common meditation. And even people who didn't do it before, we can meet each other in some space, and it doesn't matter. I'm in Russia, you are in Brazil, but we can meet. We can meet online, but also we can meet in some space in our meditation to support each other.
Yes.
And also, you know, people, most of my clients are my colleagues. It happened. Maybe because I'm from like a bit older generation, so I have a lot of clients who are my colleagues. And they are very busy. They are doing webinars, sometimes free of charge, just for nothing. Because, you know, some of us have lost our clients because they don't have income.
Yes. Yes.
So we are trying to do things free of charge. You know, I know some colleagues who are working as volunteer in hospitals, and I feel very great respect to them. They are working just in a quite risky situation. We have Zoom conferences with clients, students, even with friends. Sometimes we have like a Zoom party, tea party, so we can communicate with each other. And you know, I have some people who are coming for me for supervision, and some of them are children psychologists.
Yeah.
And even though they didn't do it before, can you imagine they are working with children, doing body psychotherapy and psychomotor correction online?
Yes.
So I cannot just imagine it, but they managed to do it. And again, I feel very big respect to those who manage to help. Now your turn. Now your turn.
It's very nice what you're sharing, because what moves me is that we find the desire, the wish, you know, and the instinct of the human beings, at least many of them, you know, get together even in times of difficulties like that, and get together even online. It's like people are very busy online at these times, you know. So you don't have so much time during the day. They thought they would have nothing to do, but there are such a lot of things to do online that is fantastic, and this is connected to the instinct of surviving of the human beings, and that's beautiful. That's something that nobody can take from us. Nobody can take us our instincts to be alive, our instincts to contact the other, and our instincts to open our hearts, even online. No? And here in Brazil too, many people, for example, are doing yoga online, meditation online, exercises online, you know, gymnastics online, dance online. I have several friends that are teaching in Brazil this kind of work online and are doing very well. What is interesting for me is that the body psychotherapists, or the people, the psychotherapists that works with the body, they are also finding a way, you know, to work with the body in a psychotherapeutic way. That's one thing that I repeat sometimes, that, for example, we as psychotherapists, before, when the world was in a big acceleration and a lot of stress around, people doing 50 things at the same moment, is that they didn't have any time to stay with themselves. So they are obliged to do it. They are obliged to be in themselves, you know, even if they have online. So you are confined, you have to think, you have to feel, you have to see your feelings, your fantasies, etc. Everything is there, you know. So there's a big contrast in this strong cut between acceleration and slowing down your life very much, and being in a small territory, you know, which means being at home, being in between walls somehow. So how can you find freedom in between walls? How can you find freedom in yourself, and not only looking outside as people were a lot stimulated, you know, have been stimulated to be outside, to fulfill the desires of the others, you know, most of the time in that acceleration time. And now when you slow down, how can you fulfill your own desires? How can you go into yourself? So in psychology, we work with that, you know, that is mainly our work, especially when there is a lot of stress, there is a lot of rush in life. So we used to do that a lot, you know. And now it opens a door that obliges people, you know, to somehow, you know, be themselves. And we as psychotherapists are even working with the body. So we can work in different ways, different from yoga, different from gymnastic, different from meditation. Is that how you breathe and feel your body by breathing? How are you breathing at this moment now? How can you spend your breathing? How can you calm down your breathing? What that provokes on you when you breathe like that. So let's look at each other. Let's, for example, if you touch here, how do you feel here? How do you feel when you touch here? How do you feel when you touch your legs or wherever in your body? You know, what are the fantasies you are having? You know, which kind of thoughts you know you have while you are in between the walls. You know, what provokes that? And then the psychotherapist, he can keep working and helping even from far, even
Yeah.
online, and helping people to find the best of themselves in this situation. Yes,
Yeah. Agree.
obliged situation. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's working pretty nicely here in the clinic. And I'm surprised that uh, at the start of the crisis, you know, many patients disappeared, you know, and so they disappeared to take care of their lives. It was surviving situation, you know.
Yeah.
And now some of them are just starting to come back slowly, you know, and then we can keep working with that in this psychotherapeutic way, you know. So that's what that's it's important to say what's the difference between doing yoga, gymnastic, uh, and other exercises. What means to do body work from a psychotherapeutic point of view? What that provokes on me, you know? So this is something that is going on a lot for me here, you know. And also,
Yeah.
how can you can keep some distance and sanity from all the information people are sending? So the media is sending thousands of information, and
Mm-hmm.
so most of the information that we receive are fake. We can say most
Yeah.
of the information are fake. We can say almost 90% of the information we receive are fake. So I even started to write an article about the fake era we started to live because we
Mm.
live in between fake things most of the time. So is that nobody knows, we don't know a lot, and it's so much difficult to stay on the place of not knowing that you started to believe in anything that people send to you without selection, you know. And that leads people to a state of chaos or a state of sort of craziness, you know, that
Yeah.
it's very hard to to deal and to find yourself. So part of our work is also to stop, uh, uh, to give a limit, you know, to the informations. We don't need so much information, you know.
Yeah. I agree. And also, it's body psychotherapy is not just body work. Okay.
Yes,
It's and we need to create a connection between body and our emotions, between body and our thoughts, etc. And when we help people to be centered in their center, to be grounded, sometimes they can find uh, some new possibilities. For example, some people can canalize their energy uh, into movement, okay, but also in creativity.
yes,
And some people uh, are doing painting, they didn't do it before.
yes,
Some people are doing writing, and also in they write it not to publish.
yes,
It's not about publishing, it's about just to put some feeling from inside outside to the paper. For example,
yes,
they can describe their inner sensations in order to be more with themselves.
yes,
And when they share with us, we can also feel their sensation. It's a resonance.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. In October, Liani Zink was in Moscow.
Yeah.
And I had an interview with her. And we also told about possibility to deal with technology, to do body psychotherapy online, that before coronavirus.
Yes.
And I told her, oh, tell me how we can do it.
Yes.
So we discussed these things, just how to touch and what do you feel when you touch here. So, and funny that usually when we have our client in reality, not online, we finish with hugging.
Yes.
We hug each other. Funny thing that now when we finish our session, we do like this
Yeah.
to each other, just to feel more connected.
Yes. Yes. And
Yeah.
you really you can send that kind of information, you know. You can send that energy. You can send when I look in your eyes, I can feel something, you know. When I see your smile, I can feel something. So it's not true that online is not possible to be together. It's possible to be together. It's not as complete as being body to body together in the same place, but it's a kind of approach that where we can really feel the presence of the other. We are not alone. We are alone.
I agree, but at the same time, there are a lot of limitations, and some of my clients refused to be, even though they don't want to have a break
Yes.
in our work, but they refuse to be online because they say that okay, we can see each other, but we don't feel this warmth.
Yes.
So this warmth.
Yes.
But some of them started to try, and then we managed somehow.
Yes.
You know, before I online, I had only people who coming for supervision, and I didn't like to do psychotherapy online. But now it's what we can do. We can learn. I think it's a time of learning.
Yes. Yes.
Time of learning.
Yes. And we can only learn when we don't know. So the not knowing opens the door for learning, right? So
agree.
Yes. So if you let yourself experience learning, you know, be in the unknown, it helps you a lot to create new possibility, to be in your creativity, right? So it's very important to be in front of the unknown. It's like a painter, for example. He has this big white board in front of him. Where is he going to put the first touch? You know. So
yeah,
it's unknown, and we human beings, we really need to learn how to let yourselves be in the unknown. So important, you know. Yes, to open new.
agree.
Sorry.
I agree.
You agree? Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
When I went to Russia the first time to work in your school,
Yeah.
well, first I didn't know Russia, even if my whole family, 75% of my family comes from different countries in old United
Soviet Union.
Soviet Union, yes. So when I got there, I felt quite close to the kind of way people in Russia relate to each other. But it was very unknown for me, and I learned a lot by being in that unknown place. I learned with the Russians, you know, how to be there and share the same space. So it's very important to be in the unknown. I like that we got to this point, you know, to how can we not be afraid of the unknown and learn how to deal with that.
But it's a challenge.
It's a challenge, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a challenge.
But you see, you say it's a challenge with a smile. So we like challenges, right? So let's go into the challenge.
Okay. Frankly speaking, I cannot tell you that. In some sense, I like challenge because our profession is a challenge. But sometimes we would like so much not to be in challenging situation.
Well,
So it's better to have a balance, you know.
yes. Yes, but I mean, we don't know a lot, but we know something. So we have the balance. We can always go back to the place where we know, you know.
Yeah.
We can go to the unknown, but we can always go back to the place that we know. To have a rest at least, you know.
Yeah.
to have a rest of the challenge. We don't have to be in challenge all the time. We can really rest in our home, the place we know, you know, so that even get better, get more energy, and go back to the challenge again, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, they had a very famous Russian psychologist. He was very young, but he created a lot of things. His name is Vygotsky, and he wrote about so-called zone of proximal development. So we cannot just jump from one step to the 11th, 12th step. We can have a zone where we are able to develop themselves.
Yes.
So, and it's very important now in this situation to feel it and to understand the zone of proximal of client. And for our clients, this zone is different.
Yes.
One person is like a lot, but there are some other people, they are not better or worse. They can they don't have too much possibilities and resources to be in challenging situation. They need a lot of support to do it. So it's difficult. It's different. We are, all of us, we are different. So we need to know how far, how fast we can go.
Yes.
With this or that client.
Yes, exactly. We have a concept here that we call the tolerance, window of tolerance. I mean, we have the window of tolerance. So if you go too much up, it's too much stress. If you go too much down, it's the stress in the opposite way. So have to find a way to be in that most of the time in that place of tolerance. How much can we tolerate? Yes.
Yes.
And I think this is valid for the world of common sense. So you have to find a way to somehow to be in the situation where we are right now, you know, and but find the most correct place. Think, see, how can we be in this life as it is presented now, but without phobia. We don't have to be afraid. We just have to learn how to find our freedom, mostly inside ourselves by thinking, by feeling, by moving. How to find the freedom like that, in between the walls while the tempest is outside. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
And you know, in today, so this night, we will have a very great event because in the Russian Orthodox Church, the Easter is now.
Yes. Ah, yes.
Yeah, and it's even though churches are closed,
Yeah.
but still it will be this. It's very important to keep rituals, and in Russia, this night is important because it means that life is not stop. Life is continuous.
Yes.
Like Christ, he didn't die.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's important.
It's very important. Pascha, Easter is a very important time because it really shows us.
How you call it?
Pascha.
Pascha. You know, in Russian is Pascha.
Ah, Pascha. Ah, nice.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I'm quite sure that we might have some similar things that we don't know yet, but when
yeah.
we talk about, we are going to find similar things in the culture of Russia and Brazil. But I admire a lot, and I read a lot of course, Russian literature, and some of your most famous writers, for example, like Dostoevsky, he wrote a lot about these situations that we are facing now in his romances, let's say, in his the things, the books he wrote, you know, so about that, the anguish of human beings, you know.
Yeah, it's interesting parallel. I didn't think so, but thank you for this idea.
And other authors too.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, good. Oh.
Thank you, Rubens, for this conversation.
Thank you for you too, and it was quite magical to be in between Russia and Brazil, in between Moscow and São Paulo, and
yeah.
I appreciate very much your availability to do that and everything that you gave to us. And you can, people that didn't know anything about Russia now can feel, you know, through you what means that, you know. Very nice.
You know, I saw, but I know some people from Brazil, and I saw just Regina wrote, "Thank you, Vika and Rubens, for this conversation." Yes. I saw, yeah, thanks, Vika and Rubens. So I saw somebody else. So I would like to greet my Brazilian friends.
Yes. Good. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. See you next time.
Be healthy.
You too.
Be healthy.
You too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.